All right, welcome to our guide on how the Future Kings assessment works. Today, we're going to really dig into a powerful way to give feedback that actually gets students ready for their careers. We'll break down exactly how our framework lets you see where a student is at, celebrate what they're doing right, and most importantly, give them that one clear next step to level up. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so right off the bat, let's get the core philosophy down. This is not about giving out A's or B's. It's all about getting our students ready for the real world. Think about it. We're giving them the exact kind of practical, growth-focused feedback they'd get as a junior engineer or a new analyst or a designer on their first job. That's the mindset.
So here's how we're going to break it down in 4 simple parts. First up, the 3 performance levels. Then we'll get into the 4 skill buckets we use. After that, I'll show you how you can score any project in literally 60 seconds. And finally, we'll look at some tools and real-world examples to pull it all together. All right, let's dive into Section 1, the 3 performance levels. This is really the foundation of the whole thing. Every single project, everything, from a student's first task to their final capstone, is scored at one of these 3 levels. That's it, just 3. Learning, practicing, or independent. The whole reason we keep it this simple is to make sure our feedback is always crystal clear, totally focused, and gives the student something they can actually do. It's a win for you and a win for them. So first up is level 1, learning. The best way to think about this, training wheels on. The student needs a lot of step-by-step help, a lot of guidance, just like when you're first learning to ride a bike. Their work might be incomplete or maybe just partly correct. For example, a cyber student at this level, they might need a detailed checklist sitting right in front of them just to spot a pretty basic phishing email. Then we have level 2, practicing. Okay, so now the training wheels are off. The student is kind of writing on their own, but they might need to stop and, check the map once in a while. They mostly get what they're supposed to do, and with just a little nudge from you, they can fix minor things on their own. Think of a drone student who can plan a short flight path, but probably needs you to give it a quick once-over before they hit launch. And finally, we get to level 3, independent. And honestly, this is the goal. This is what we're aiming for. At this level, the student is acting like a junior colleague. They own the task. They solve problems on their own. They might even be helping out their classmates, and they document their work really well. A game design student here isn't just handing you a prototype. They're walking you through their design choices and explaining why they made them. It's a whole different level. Okay, so now we know the what. Is a student learning, practicing, or independent? But the next logical question is, why? To figure that out, we look at their work from 4 different angles. We call these our 4 skill buckets.
The easiest way to remember these is to think of them as 4 basic questions. 1. Delivery and timeliness. Simple. Did they finish on time? Is it organized? 2. Understanding and quality. Do they actually get it? Is the work correct? 3. Process and independence. Could they figure out problems on their own? And did they document how they did it? And finally, 4. Communication and impact. Is their work so clear that somebody else could learn from it?
All right, Section 3. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this framework is great, but it sounds like a ton of work. I get it, but it's really not. The whole process is designed to be done in about 60 seconds. Seriously, it's fast, it's simple, and it's easy to repeat. Here's how it works. 3 super quick steps. Step 1, in the form, you just put in the overall rating, L, P, or I, add 1 single sentence explaining why, and rate those 4 buckets. That's it, no essays. Step 2, you pop over to Google Classroom, paste in a private comment that lists their strengths, what they can improve, and some clear next steps. Hit return, done. And step 3, a quick portfolio check. Just make sure they posted their final work to their Google site. Boom, finished. Okay, moving on to Section 4. To make that 60-second process even easier, we've got tools and some really concrete examples that show you exactly what this all looks like in the real world across all of our different programs. So you basically have 2 ways to do this. You can totally go the manual route using all the criteria we've just talked about, or you can use our GPT-assisted tool. With this, you just tell it the program, the student's level, and a couple of points on their strengths and weaknesses. And boom, it spits out the rating, the bucket scores, and a comment that's ready to copy and paste. It is a huge time saver. And check out this chart. It gives you a really clear snapshot of what that progression actually looks like. You can see how a student's skills just build and build, from novice all the way to advanced. Look at biomedical science. They start with basic lab stuff and end up doing genomic analysis. or drone engineering. They go from just putting parts together to building actual mission-ready drones. It's an awesome at-a-glance way to see the whole journey for each program. And this is really the heart of it all. Our feedback is always about action. Every single time, a student should walk away knowing 3 things: what they did well, what they need to improve, and, this is the most important part, what they need to do next. And these next steps are small and specific. Things like add captions to your images or add a troubleshooting note. They're tangible little upgrades that push them forward. So that brings us to the big question, right? After seeing how all these pieces fit together, what's the ultimate goal here? What are we really trying to do? It all comes down to this. When we use this system, students aren't just finishing projects for a grade. They are growing real, measurable skills. They're learning how to think and work like a junior analyst, or a designer, or a researcher. And the best part? They don't just leave with knowledge stuck in their head. They leave with a professional portfolio that proves what they can do. And that is the tool that's going to help them build their future.